Do you know what the public thinks of this, Mr. Philp? The public, I think, thinks that teenage girls were gang raped and that the police and social workers and other organisations were complicit in covering it up, that at times the victims were treated as if they were the ones who were committing the crimes. We had a bizarre situation where two of the fathers of two of the victims tried to take on their abusers and they ended up being arrested. And that an environment was fostered while the Conservatives were in power, both in coalition and in government, that nobody could call out largely Pakistani men from carrying out these criminal and depraved acts because of a culture of political correctness. Now, unfortunately, the finger of blame does also point at the Tories because you fostered that environment and didn't call it out. How do organisations like the police and social workers operate in this manner if vicariously the government of the time doesn't take any responsibility for this culture that apparently community relations are more important than the safety of vulnerable teenage girls living in deprived communities in the north?
Right, a couple of points, Camilla. Firstly, just to be completely clear, the safety of these vulnerable young girls is far, far, far more important than cultural sensitivity or whatever absurd euphemism gets used. Protecting these girls should have been the priority, but it wasn't, and that was morally wrong. It was frankly despicable. Now, in terms of, you asked about the previous governments. Now, the government at national level actually did quite a lot. There was the Rotherham Review commissioned in 2014. There was the independent inquiry into child sexual abuse commissioned a couple of years after that reported about 2 years ago, which covered this. Sajid Javid, as Home Secretary, commissioned data into the ethnic backgrounds of the perpetrators, which helped build this evidence file that shows the vast majority of these rape gangs, organised rape gangs, were of Pakistani heritage, as you say. And it was Rishi Sunak, as Prime Minister, who set up the Grooming Gangs Task Force that led to 550 arrests of perpetrators and mandated the police to start collecting proper data on the ethnicity of the perpetrators. So that's what the last government did. Now, I think it wasn't enough, and we need to go further with the full inquiry. Where these problems arose wasn't actually at national government level. It was local councils, almost entirely Labour-controlled. It was local police forces. It was potentially the Crown Prosecution Service. We need to find out what role Keir Starmer played in that. That is where the problem lay, and that is what this public inquiry must urgently get to the bottom of to try and stop this ever happening again.